And we are live. Welcome back to On the King's Dime. It's Monday night, the 17th of May, and we're back with an action-packed show. There's a fair few things to get through tonight. We're going to start with Fordey's big announcement. That's the big one to get through. And then we're going to go through the Brisbane game as well as the Adelaide game. Another 500 week. At a time when we need to win games, we just seem to lose some and win some and lose some and win some. It's a brutal stretch we're in at the moment, but we're here to talk about it all. As always, you can like and subscribe. We're live on Facebook right now, and you can also watch us in replay on YouTube and listen to us in audio format on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify on the Anchor platform. So do us a favor and go and give us a rating and review on there to help get us up and out there to more Kings fans. Anything else we got to plug? I think we've got playoffs coming soon. We might do some content pre-playoffs if we look like we're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. That's a very big if, I think, at this point. After that Brisbane game.
It's it's a tough watch. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully we continue on our run towards the playoffs. I think 5 games to go now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 games to go. 2 games in New Zealand. We'll talk about those after we do 3, 2, 1's tips and anything else tips. I think that was it. But yeah, so 40's big announcement. Basically, he won't be continuing on after this year. Pretty heavy stuff.
I wonder if that is a conflict. It's just weird. It's kind of weird that he came here to be like an assistant coach. He finally got a head coach position and just like, I won't be returning for family reasons.
He's from Perth, so okay, it's understandable. Yeah, fair enough.
Trevor Gleeson going to give up the Perth job?
Nah, but there's no reason why he can't go and be assistant coach for Perth or something like that. It's a little bit more prestigious, closer to home. It's a job on par with what Sydney could offer.
I don't think so. I think there's been a clash of heads somewhere like that, and Larry Kesselman. Larry Kesselman's the owner, isn't he?
Nah, Paul Smith's the owner. Larry Kesselman owns the entire league. He clashed with Larry Kesselman.
Probably.
Yeah, probably when he was like, yeah, the refs suck. Your refs are terrible, sort about.
Get him out, Paul.
But you know what's weird to me? When he kept being like, oh, it is what it is. The boys know it is what it is. And it's like, you're saying it is what it is a bit too much here. Like, that's a bit weird,
I think the expectations are pretty low this year and they've just gotten lower, and now they've just fallen off a cliff since we've lost.
I don't know. Strange. Very, very strange situation. Just on I think he said it 3 or 4 times in the like the post-match and the pre-match. It is what it is. It's like, so you're just bailing? Like, it is what it is? It is what it is. I'm out of here. Take it easy.
That doesn't tell me that, like, if he was bailing, he's just like, no, I need to go home to Perth for my, there'd be a reason. It is what it is tells me that there's some conflict that's gone on potentially between ownership and himself, and he has been not renewed for a new season.
Yeah, so I don't know. Well, like from your perspective, if it was you as the owner, what would be your sort of attack on the situation? Like, would you give him another season, or would you kind of be looking to move him on, or?
I wouldn't have been looking to move him on at all. I think in certain situations he has to get better. In late game execution is one thing that we have done very poorly. Some lineups have been questionable, but as an overall with what he's had to work with this season, no, he's done a remarkable job, especially with DJ going down, Diddy going, Casper not being great 100% of the time. Some injuries, Xavier Cook's not being there, Angus Glover, getting injured for the whole season. But with what he's had and what he's had to put out on the court week to week, with aging players that have had a long off season, to be in the playoff picture, and I say we are, is pretty remarkable. Would you agree?
100%. Like, we are in the playoff picture. I mean, we win one of these last 2 games against Adelaide or Melbourne United or even the Bullets, and suddenly we're like right there, basically on the verge of clinching, just a couple of wins away. It's a tough out, losing that game against the 36ers and then bouncing back. And really, that was a winnable game against the 36ers. And then the Bullets game, was a tough one. But I was still looking at him. It's a 5-year window, right? Probably 5 years is a little bit much to be thinking. He's going to be here for 5 years. Probably you're more looking at maybe 2 with 1 extra year. But at the same time, like if he had been there building something for the next 3 years minimum, I still would have gone, yeah, sure. Like, it's been a decent season. There's been some adversity. I think the amount of adversity we've faced this season, you could kind of go, well, wipe the slate clean. You get another year next year. We'll kind of retool the roster, rebuild the roster, and that will be your year to sort of say, show us what you can do. And I still think also that what he's done this season with this team and the attitude that this team's shown, that also, like, you get a tick there to go, I appreciate that. That's been one of the more refreshing things this season. In a season where basically, before it started, you and I were both going, rebuild, like this has the chance to potential to be bad, man. And for this team to show the amount of heart that it has definitely, I think, been a part of what Fordey's message has been. To lose Will Weaver, to lose Tate and Bogut at the same time is enough, I think, to suck the guts out of a franchise. But I think the culture remained there through him.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of the guys that, because Fordey was obviously assistant coach, there was a bit of crossover. Some of the guys had played underneath. Geordie with a bit of a breakout season in the league. Didi, injury. He was injury plagued most of this season. Like, this is what we don't realize. And that when he was on the floor, he was helping win games.
He missed 4 games. I wouldn't say plagued, but I think he's gone through some of the injury adversity.
Half the season, his back was completely stuffed and played at about 50%.
True.
We in stretches, DJ looked like he was going to win Rookie of the Year by a country mile. That's not out of, that's Fordey putting it in his hand when he's got a lot more senior guys there. I think that's the relevance of what Adam Ford's brought to this season. But to just kind of be like, oh, we're going to retool next year. And I think that's taking the assumption that, COVID's just going to be gone and you're going to get some honcho coach to come and play and, crowds are going to return to normal. And I just don't think that's a realistic option in 5 months, to be honest with you, with the way things are going especially. So it's kind of like you're going to be down for another COVID, interrupted season, really. And so what's the best thing to do is to keep the same roster as close as you can, maybe tool it a bit. Maybe we don't need a power forward as our marquee. Maybe we need to get rid of Casper Ware and bring in a younger guard who's a little bit more versatile in the scoring front. But that's the tweaks that you made. But the basic principles of what we have has underpinned the team is important. I think Fordey is a big part of that. I think also making the league accountable. He's the only bloody coach to have done it.
It's true, and I think there's part of his messaging this season has definitely been a refreshing aspect of watching these games. Like, although this season hasn't hit the heights of last season, it hasn't been, greatness personified. We haven't been able to beat the chest and be like, oh, I love this team, it's great. But you still have felt an emotional connection to the team because of the way it's been coached. We've played the right way. We've always kind of tried to play hard and, put that road mentality to work and put the mentality of, playing hard, working hard, and, playing good basketball. I don't think we've ever strayed into a realm of being dislikable. I think we've just played hard, worked hard.
I think this will give you this has been a more enjoyable year than the last year of Gaze's coaching.
It always comes back to Gazy, doesn't it?
It was terrible. So bad.
And it's funny because after that season, you kind of went, oh, this could go one of two ways, as well as like that sort of also finished in a similar vein where the coach comes along and goes, oh, well, it's near the end of the season and I'm out. So this will either make or break you guys as a team. Or, if we lose, you can all just go, whatever, the coach was leaving anyway, who cares, let's go on to next season. So another situation where it's a bit like, ooh, okay, sure thing.
I think there's enough culture at Sydney that, him leaving won't affect the way that they're hungry to do it. I think it'll just be a question of, can we get enough fit, decent players on the court week to week to actually make a finals push? Can Casper find some form? Because really we have no shooters in this team. And, how are we going to find it? Well, Jarrell Martin's got to find a lot of offensive form, and Casper's got to find some form. Otherwise, we've got nothing in terms of generating offense. But I suppose we'll see what the outcome of this kind of fallout will be in the off season when it all kind of leaks after the season finishes.
Because we've got some big decisions to make. I think the roster has shown this season that relying on those veteran guys, it's probably just gone to a length a little bit too far, relying on Kickett. I think it's okay to have Kickett as your third center where he only plays 5 minutes a night, gets 20 minutes here and there. But this season we've had to fall back on him due to the injuries, and that's fine. That's kind of extraneous circumstances that you got to deal with. Bringing in some development players as well as some, injury replacements. You kind of look at this season and it all got out of whack, and you just go, okay, we can't really make much of what's happened here. But I still think we've got a couple of players, veterans, that have these roles where, it's almost a bridge too far. Like you can kind of see Kickett slowing down, Newley slowing down a little bit. Shawnee Bruce has been a little bit up and down, and then you kind of bring in a guy like Martin and look at the offense in general this season. And there's been times where I'm watching the offense just going, you guys can't even get Martin into like a nice position, like a good position, establish him and get him a bucket. Like he's working his sack off to get buckets at the moment, as hard as he can. And you just think, what could we have done throughout a season where we actually got a chance to play him down low? And I guess as a power forward who scores the ball in the way that he does, a lot different to a guy like JT we had last year, which I think JT fit this team better with what he gave us. You almost got to kind of switch around your entire offense for a guy like Jarrell and go, we're going to feed the post. We're going to do things like that. On defense, he really struggles playing 3-2 zone, 2-3 zone. And that's a huge worry. Like if he's going to be on the court as an offensive sense, you can't have him as a whole playing at power forward because guys are going to rinse him. The drop coverage stuff over the last couple of seasons has been pretty bad. It's really only been in this Adelaide game where we went to a 1-2-2 that we actually have put together some stretches where you're just like, the D's back, Or like last year we were funneling guys into Bogut, or the season before we're funneling guys, and I was still a little bit like, I don't like that. I'd prefer to have a rim protector and a power forward who can kind of, help, and guys kind of drop coverage and, helping out. But really this season, I guess it's so hard to blend the lines between we haven't had any players and, I really like what this team's done, there's something here to build on, because you could easily get rid of 3 or 4 of these players and then just bring in new players, and you're back suddenly again just going, these guys have got to gel, we've got to give them time, got to work on them with the coach, got to get back into it, got to find ways to score. And then you look at Casper as a staple scoring the ball. You never really felt 100% comfortable with him as a scorer this year, like even the last 2 seasons, really.
No.
No?
It's been very hit and miss. Some hit, a lot of miss.
Yeah, and not an unlikable guy. I think, for what he's given us, we've definitely seen flashes of what he can do, in the scheme of the team going down and him having to take these huge responsibilities to score the ball and, while not scoring it well, just find, complete 180s of how to play the game as well, fit in on offense while he's not scoring the ball well, and as well as get a guy like Jarrell the ball, which we've just struggled watching these games and watching these highlights, man. The amount of times where he just cannot get the ball down low, far enough low in the post, and you're just like, he has to back down, he has to come back out, and he just shoots like a 17-foot fadeaway and makes it, and you're still just like, so good. But you're like, God, it's just such clanky offense, man. When it's going down, it's great. When it's not going down, you're just like, oh, they're not great shots. No. But yeah, so what do you think in general? Like, do we bring in a big coach? Like, what are your thoughts?
No, we don't. I think we get the marquee signings for Sydney are not there.
Mm.
We had our marquee for 2 years. We had Bogut. We were lucky with Jay Sean Tate, who was a talent beyond the NBL for where we sat in the league. And we had Kevin Lish. I mean, that team last year was really probably the epitome of any Sydney team that you've seen in the last 10 to 15 years in terms of talent on the floor. We're probably not going to get that for a few seasons. So what do we have to do? We have to, look to your Xavier Cooks, your DJs, to build around your Craig Moller staples, and then try and get some guys that kind of fit around them in terms of offense. Get a true scoring point guard. Get a better backup center, or even instead of going for the power forward option, have, if Newley wants to play another season, have Newley and Moller at that power forward position, and then play and go out and get a marquee center. Because I think that 5 position from the last couple of years, the way it's reffed in this league, it's more important to have 2 good centers, I think, that can potentially give you night in, night out, as opposed to 1 and a backup. I think that, it's more relevant that you have the amount of nights I've watched teams where the center just gets reffed off the floor.
What, this season?
Yeah, I mean,
Geordie, you poor old Geordie, jeez.
But it's not just Geordie though. Sometimes it's Mooney, sometimes it's Iverson. They get reffed off the floor.
Yeah, Iverson copped it all season bad.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, if you really have to go to 2, I mean, he's obviously a marquee kind of import. You really have to go to that 2 center spot and a point guard. Because I think power forwards, small forwards, shooting guards are a dime a dozen in the league. There's tons of those. But realistically, it's your center position. I mean, Cairns probably did it best last year when they had Cam Oliver and Nate Jarwai. 2 fantastic center combination. They had some good players around them, and that combination took them, pretty close to the end. This year, a bit different. They didn't have really the guard structure. Scott Machado was absolutely woeful, and Cam Oliver was a bit of a bitch for most of the season.
Hey. At least he got a 10-day in Houston.
He got a 10-day and scored some points.
Shot the most threes of any center in the league. 108. I couldn't believe when I read that. 118 threes attempted. Jeez.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's those 2 combinations. Even Perth has those 2 combinations. Melbourne has those 2 combinations where you've got 2 decent centers on the floor, because it is really a league of centers. The FIBA is, a camp kind of situation where you can camp in the lane. You've got to have 2 rim protectors. That's what we really need to do. Geordie's got to play 20 minutes a night. We've got to get ourselves a marquee center, a marquee point guard, if it's just 2 imports, and then go to town with our local talent. That's really what happened. And Jerome Martin is a talent, but he's not a center. And I think that really shows in the league that if you go out and get yourself a decent center that scores the ball, and you have a good backup center in Jordan Hunter, that there's a flip. You can go out and be more aggressive on offense. You can go out and be more aggressive on defense, because there's stretches where you're just like, well, they're funneling it into the center or into the 5 or into Geordie or he's not doing anything because he's on 4 fouls with a quarter to go, and the backup center is absolute trash. So what do you do?
I'm just looking at here the stats for this season. Geordie in 30 games played 86 fouls, leads the league. Colton Iverson, 29 games played, 84 fouls. So those 2 are just definitely leading the league in being reffed completely off the floor. Ogilvy in 29 games, 72. Hodgson in 24 games, 69. So a lot of fouls to high foul to game ratio for him. And then DJ, 31 games, only 67. And you kind of go down the list. Wetzel, 66. Oliver, 65. Landau, 64. So 20 more fouls. That's, what's that? Four extra games worth of fouls on Geordie and Iverson. And I don't feel like Geordie's played this kind of defense where you're just out of control, definitely deserves to be reffed off the floor because he could, be hurting someone out there. I think there's definitely other bigs out there where you're like, whoa, you're out of control. You're going to injure someone with flailing around out of control. But just to see that, in stark contrast, to see that those 2 have got 20 more fouls than some of the better centers in the league. Mooney at 62, Landau 64, Froling 60, and then Humphreys, the best shot blocker in the league. He's got 50 blocks, and then 56 fouls, but only played 19 games. So I think the center spot, and Geordie doesn't shoot threes too, that makes it hard. It really does make it hard that he doesn't shoot threes. And then when DK's on there, he's on there in a sense that your defense is going to drop off basically because he's out there shooting the 3. I think rim protection is the biggest part. Looking at Humphreys, 50 blocks, Luala Chul, 32. I'm just going to... There we go. So 50 for Humphreys, 38 for Landau, Cam Oliver had 33, and then Joe Luala-Chul 32, Ogilvy 31, Hunter 30. So it's 30 blocks is not bad. Like, it's not too bad for a ratio of 86 fouls to 30 blocks. Not great, but it's definitely, I think, for me, the main part is rim protecting. If you're going to have Jarrell Martin in this team, and if you're going to have kind of bigger guys that are, forward/guards in, Moller, guys like that, I think that's going to be a huge part of our next couple of seasons. And it's going to be hard. So just on Geordie, like, it's going to be super hard to see this season. You hear it on the commentary. You hear it from guys around the league. Breakout season. It's been great this season. How do you then just go, okay, Geordie, now you're going to play back up to a more experienced, higher caliber center? Did he get to a level where you're just like, okay, we're not going to invest in that position because we've got Jordan Hunter? Can we find maybe someone who's less experienced than Hunter kind of to bring him in behind?
What happened to Denga Kuth?
Yeah, what happened to Denga Kuth?
That's what I mean. Like, what happened to Denga Kuth? Like, we don't necessarily have to go out and get an international centre. We just need another rim protector. We need another beanstalk rim protector. Thon Maker. Why don't we go get Thon Maker?
Yeah, but then that's sort of what I'm saying. Like, how do you look at this season from Geordie? Sorry?
He can play the 4 and Geordie can play the 5. I mean, if you're going to put someone like that on the floor, they're interchangeable, but one of them can play the 4. The problem with Geordie Hunter is he can't play the 4. He can only play the 5. And that's, in the modern game, a lot of your bigs have to be kind of versatile in that respect. Even in the worst situation, Isaac Humphries could play 4. DJ could definitely play 4. Jock Landale can play 4. You know what I mean? Like, they can play multiple positions, multiple bigs. Jerome Martin can't play 5 and Jordan Hunter can't play 4. And so therefore you've got to have one of those positions versatile. Xavier Cooks can play 4-5. That's why that position's versatile for him. And that's why he was so effective last year, is because, okay, Bogut's in foul trouble, get Cooks on the, you know what I mean? Like, he could play up to that position. In our whole season, we've had either a 4 or a 5 on the floor. And Kickett was kind of that, okay, he's a bit versatile, but this year he's just been so slow and hasn't shot the 3 ball as well. And so he's more of a hindrance than a help in that respect. And so we're stuck in this, once Geordie gets refed off the floor, we're kind of screwed. Once Joel Martin gets refed off the floor, we're kind of screwed because we just don't have the versatility in positions. And I think that's something that we have to look at going into further seasons is, okay, Cooks is healthy, right? We've got that flexible 4-5 guy. Do we invest in another 5 or do we invest in another 4? You're going to need to run 3 deep really at the center position. That's just really what it is. Cooks is that 4-5 flexible. We need to get ourselves another center.
If Geordie's our second center, I think that's, it's so hard. Like, if you bring in a better, like, more high caliber center, like, you can get away with Geordie as your second center coming off the bench, and then maybe have a guy at the level of Kickett as your third guy, because then you can play him in a versatile role. You've got Cooks and even Moller who can kind of play 4-5, positions like that. It's, I think, to tie it back into sort of, Fordey leaving and what we have to do with this team, I think it's going to be a huge decision, and a decision where we have to now, like, at a crossroads, we're going to have to make a decision on what we do over the next couple of seasons. And to look at what we've done as a franchise this season, the type of injury players we've looked at, the replacements, the guys that we've had available that we haven't signed, and then to go back to the start of the season, the guys that were available and we just couldn't sign. Like, some of the best players in the league this season, we had a chance to sign and we couldn't sign any of them. And I look at it and just go, oh, I don't know, man. Like, the outlook doesn't look good. We've just whiffed on so many players that, instead of being like, oh, no, it's fair enough. Like, we've just whiffed on some players. Like, don't get too upset. Like, there's been way too many players where now I'm just going, ooh, something's not right, man.
Yeah, there's something
some fishy's going on. Yeah, and we've got a huge arena too. I guess we got to think about that. Like, if we had a 20,000 seater or maybe, a 16,000 seater, would our situation post-COVID or through COVID have been totally different? Like, we would be spending so much money on that arena, just dead money, like, basically to have it empty for an entire season.
I don't know.
You reckon?
No, I think there would have been some supplement from the government. I think they don't rent it. I think ACID pays Sydney Kings to play there. and then they get a certain cut. The problem is that cuts have been pretty woeful because of the lack of games.
Like court keeper or something like that.
Yeah, it's not been the same. Maybe that'll change next season. Obviously, the season before we had such bumper crowds. It was,
But really, were they bumper crowds? I mean, to the ratio of what the stadium is, like it holds 30 or just shy of 30, and we're getting like 12 to 15 up towards 20. I mean, it's not great.
It's pretty good for NBL.
It's good for NBL, I think, but I look at it more as the strategy of what this franchise is doing. Knowing that you're sitting on a large arena that you can't really fill even at the best of times. In that sense, I think would shape some of the decisions we're making here. And we have absolutely no idea. We're just fans speculating on this sort of stuff. So it's not like we're in the know on what's happening. But I just think you're putting probably three strands together here and looking at the arena, how big it is, looking at some of the signings we've been struggling to make, even going back through to the pre-season. And maybe put another string in Fordey leaving. Like it paints a bit of a picture where you're just like, ooh, like, what really is happening? I don't know. I feel like the club, to me personally, has to come out in this next season. If we don't make the playoffs, you kind of have to come out in this next season and go, we have to make a statement, spend some money, really look at retooling the roster, really look at trying to get the fans back in and on side. Because, I don't know, I can see it just kind of slipping off a little bit with what's happening.
I can see this season really sliding some of the expectations of fans. I do think there needs to be a bit of a shake-up postseason. Even if we do make the playoffs, I think there needs to be a bit of a shake-up in personnel, players, and so forth. But
it's super hard too because it's been such a a season where you can be really there's been an admirable level from these players, despite us losing games. There's been still we've done some pretty amazing things this season to even be anywhere near the finals, which is how many guys. So I guess a bit of a a bit of double-edged sword, a bit of a kind of two-sided coin to think about of what's going to happen in the end of the season and what's going to happen through postseason and preseason for next year, like retooling and building for next year. But we'll do plenty more speculation on that over the next few weeks and the coming months as well. Should we talk quickly about this Brisbane game? That was an absolutely... I didn't think we could get any worse than that Melbourne game. But that was just... Or was it the Adelaide game? I think it was the Adelaide game. That was just one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Was that even basketball?
It was atrocious. I can't believe we had 10 points in the second quarter. Just, wow. And then... I mean, in the third, we ended up scoring 24 in the third and 19 in the fourth. Pretty solid. All we needed really was a decent quarter in the second, and we probably would have been in that game. Brisbane put in a 19-point scoring run. Their biggest lead was 26. I think at one point we had it back to about 13, and the little spark of just like, we could be back in this, and then it was just like bang, back to 23. Just like, damn it. Well, turning this off.
Yeah, that was woeful. That really was bad.
Just looking through the box score, Geordie Hunter, 15 points, 5 of 11. Another game against, you would say Hodgson, and then off the bench, Froling. And Harrison. Harrison I don't like, man. I think decent enough. I think he's probably one of the poorer bigs in the league, and he just flails all over people too. Like every time he goes up for a ball, comes down, his footwork, you're just looking around going, everyone get out of his way, man. You could get injured here. I felt that a few times. Even Geordie, he came down with his elbows on Geordie's head one of the times, and Geordie's just like, what the hell? I can't even get a call. And then Froling, 2 points, another disappointing night for him. 11 minutes, 2 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. Handsy, nice. Looking through, Drimich had a career night. I feel like that's the most points he's had in the last 5 years. That's one of his best nights he's had in 5 years.
That was his highest scoring game ever.
Oh, really? There you go.
28, yeah.
It's what a night. Career night for Anthony Drimich. One of the first times he scored 20 in about 5 years. Great. How good is it? It's pretty amazing, though. 7 of 10 from 3. And a couple of those, we were just scrambling around. And it's just he's standing in the corner wide open. He's just boys. Okay, no worries, boys. Get the next one, eh? Just pick it out, bring it back up.
that stretch where they went 19 and just like we couldn't do anything. Like you couldn't score. It didn't look good. It was. Oh, I just want to nuke this game from my memory, please.
Yeah, just erase it. Take it out. Take it from your memory. So Lockie got the start, and you were just like,
I was happy about this.
What?
Little charge burglar.
Yeah.
Just won't shoot though. That's the problem. Just kind of like it's this aversion to shooting. It's annoying.
He hit a corner 3 in the second half. It was like, hey, you're not going down. It was nice. That was his only made basket. Four attempts from 3 and 1 from inside. I think he got absolutely starched on one of them. I thought just a bit strange. Did it feel like a bit like, well, why is he starting?
No, Bruce.
Bruce. But man, just start Weeks. Like, I know he's only been there 2 seconds, but
yeah,
surely you would give him the start and go, look, come out. I just thought it was a bit strange. No, you didn't feel it? No. Because Weeksy off the bench, he had a nice layup, just was completely fouled on that layup, didn't get a call. Giving it the old hey, and it's like, mate, you're playing for Sydney, you're not gonna get any of those, mate. Weeksy, the experience has been rough, but one thing I do like is the pace that he plays with. Like, you can see him playing with this, like, bring the ball up really quickly, playing with this pace where it's kind of at odds with some of the way we're playing in these games where guys dawdle the ball up. There's a lot of, I'm taking the rebound, I'm standing around, I'm looking, I'm passing, and then like 6 seconds comes off the shot clock before we're over the halfway line, and you're just thinking to you, like, can we speed this up? Like we've said a bunch of times this season, like, speed the game up. And I've seen Weeksy do it a few times. I'm like, oh, good. Like, I like this. But then the rest of the team just doesn't do it. And you're just like, ugh, brutal. Because Geordie's a culprit for he'll grab a rebound and just dawdle up the floor. And you're like, Geordie, like watch Draymond. Just get the ball and just go. And then everyone else, like, if for whatever reason, everyone else goes, oh my God, what's happening? Like, they at least go, oh, quick, boys, let's go. Like, speed the pace up, and it's just hard, man. Like, watching how slow this team, we're just not a slow-paced team. We don't have, shooters that can shoot the ball, offensive players where if the play breaks down, if we run a set, we don't have a point guard who's just, I'm going to get guys buckets, I'm going to run a lot of pick and roll. Like, we've just got all these weird offensive options that don't mash together into like a team. And then it becomes really apparent in these games where we don't push the ball at all, and suddenly our offense is stagnant. It's just brutal to watch. It was very sluggish to start the game. Cooksey was back as well. He came off the bench pretty quickly. Had a nice dunk, pretty hype putback dunk. Missed a jumper. We were like, ooh, that was rusty. And then he got the rebound putback. So that was pretty nice. Yeah, that 19-point run. I'm just looking through my notes for more things to talk about. The 2-3 zone has been pretty bad. Or Jarrell cannot play in a 2-3 zone. The amount of times he'll just look around, and I've said it heaps of times, that you could feel like a 15-minute YouTube compilation of the amount of times he looks around, scratches his head as someone makes a basket, and you're like, Jarrell, jeez, man. He had 13 points in this game, and also he looks in stretches like a huge offensive weapon, and you're just like, get it to him, feed him, get it to him, and then we'll just not give him the ball back. Or just be like, hold on, let him push you all the way out to the elbow, push you even further out to the three-point line. Here you go, have a crack now. And you're just like, oh my God.
Get it in deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And then, yeah, Drimich's crazy night. Sobe didn't have a huge night. He's had some big ones against us the last couple of games. I thought we dealt with him quite well defensively. It was just basically, blitzing him and then just passing to a wide open Drimich who was knocking it down. Casper Ware as well, 6 points in this game. 3 of 12, only 3 assists to go with that, minus 23 on the night. Rough game for him. And then our role players, basically Mola, 3 points. Tommy V, only 5 points, 1 of 7. You want to say anything about your man Tommy?
He's had a rough couple of weeks, the old Tommy V. Not playing well at the moment. Mind you, no one is.
True.
No one's playing well. So.
I like that he just still shoots, but sometimes you get in these like Tommy, but at the same time, like, he's not shooting the ball well, and he's still going. I like the enthusiasm, man. You're giving us a spark at least off the bench.
Yeah, he's. You think it's eventually going to fall. He's got a nice stroke. and that eventually it'll come good. It's just a bit of a shooting slump, but yeah, I do like the fact that he lets it go and not late in the shot clock as well. If he's going to let it go, he lets it go pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that, but still, it's Tommy V.
I am.
His hustle is lovable, and of course, when he comes out and plays defense, it's just like you flip a coin. You play D, that's a foul. You're just like, far out, man. He gets reffed off the floor heaps. I'm actually just quickly going to check his stats.
Okay.
Power forward, fouls. It won't let me. Oh, I might go to Sydney, just Sydney. Personal fouls. We want totals. Total fouls for Tommy Vodanovic is 63. There you go.
That's pretty decent.
30 games. Yeah, for the amount of minutes he plays, just looking at the amount of minutes, total amount of minutes, 432, 63,432 minutes. Yeah, so I think we can move on from that absolutely atrocious game. Jason Kadee again hit 1-3, a momentum 3 where you're just like, God damn it. We'll move on to this Adelaide game, and this was a much, much better performance, and just made me just go, why did we blow that game against Adelaide the other day? Like, I'm so down on Adelaide as a team where you just watch that team and just go, how soft are you guys? Like, it's a little bit like the Phoenix at the same time. It's like Spursian where they're not a tough team, they're not a grindy team. They're just a team that you kind of a bit like, oh, you guys are a bit soft. If you really, put the boot into them, they kind of capitulate a little bit.
Didn't Pinder just have a massive cry on the bench this game?
Yeah, he kicked the seat into the crowd, and they also got a low key dirty player in Tony Crocker stepping on the back of people's ankles and elbowing people as well. But Geordie had a pretty good game in this. Fouled out again, reffed off the floor. A couple of fouls where you were just like, what? Like, really? Wow. Where was that foul? Didn't see that one. But he still had a huge impact. 15 points, 6 and 9. 3 rebounds, had a block as well, which was good. Shawnee Bruce was back. He had 7 points, 3 assists. Still not a great night for him. Back out of concussion protocol. Copped that stray elbow from Geordie. Xavier Cooks was in the starting lineup in this game. He had 6 points, 2 of 4. What has been your thoughts on him coming back? I think
rusty, but definitely adds to the stretch that he plays in. You can tell the team looks better with him on the floor, defensively as well. I would like to see his minutes restrictions die at some stage so we can have him for 35 minutes a game because we need him badly.
Just looking, Jarrell, obviously the standout of the night, 9 of 19, 7 of 13 inside, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Casper Ware had 10 assists in this game. I'm sure he had 12. The stats said he had 12. So they must have taken 2 away from him.
Yeah. No, you don't get.
You don't get two assists.
Double.
13 points, 10 assists, 2 rebounds. A much better night, I think, from him.
Facilitation. For me, this game, when Moller hit that 3, I was like, it's over.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was just like, Moller with the dagger again. Moller likes to put the dagger in. He's an emphatic dagger guy. When he shoots the 3 deep into the fourth quarter, you know that you've lost the game.
Yeah, he's hit some good ones against Illawarra. That was a good one too. Defensively, I've got in my notes here, the high blitz worked really well on Giddey. And it kind of makes you wonder why we aren't doing that more often this season. On guys especially. It's worked quite well on Cotton. We've seen that. We haven't really done it to McCarron against United. We didn't really do it that much against Sobey for the Bullets. For the Hawks, we haven't really done it against Harvey. I guess Harvey's a little bit more of an explosive scorer, so it might be a different sort of thing to try it on him and then have to back out on it. But yeah, it really, really worked on Giddey. And then if you look at this team, kind of, DJ was down low a little bit, and if you're high blitzing Giddey, they kind of don't really have much else. Like Brandon Paul, Pinder. Detch hit a few 3s. Oh, he hit 1 3. It was a nice 3 really early on. He was just like, oh no. And I think that was kind of one of the main reasons why we shut him down and shut the game down, really. Shut that Adelaide team down.
Yeah, it's if you don't let Giddey facilitate, they kind of don't really have anything gluing that team together. I think you saw that when he was out injured. You're right. It is a bit of a soft team. Like you give them a bit of a jab in the ribs and they kind of capitulate. But I think Casper, did the right thing, put the ridiculously high volume threes away and decided, okay, I'm going to facilitate a bit. And, Joel Martin had a good night. And that's the two things. If you've got your two imports playing well and doing a job, then you're going to have a good night. And a lot of the other guys chipping in as well. Really, just quietly, has just been
rough, man. Rough stretch. After he started the season so well.
Yeah.
He was great. I'm just looking at his plus minus to start the season. I goes -5 in the -9 in the first half of the season, and then -19 in the second half of the season so far. But rough, man. Very rough. Just scared to go to the basket too. You're just like, dude, just anytime you get the ball, just go. Like Weeksy, just go, mate. But, he should have a green light on that. Yeah, DK chipping in. He had 12 points, 2 of 3 from 3, 5 of 6 in the field. A couple of nice little inside buckets. It's good to see. They were obviously missing Isaac Humphries, the best shot blocker in the league at the moment. And DJ fouling out as well. Craig Muller also chipped in. He had 2 of 4 from 3, 12 points, 11 boards. Just quietly an absolute domination on the boards at the moment.
He is a dominator on the offensive glass as well. It's that AFL skills. He's very, very tall, playing that small forward position, and adds definitely depth. And he's good at going up for boards. I find that Geordie doesn't jump very high. He just kind of grabs. Whereas Muller, you can see actually, gets a bit of elevation to get the ball.
Yeah, he gets into spots and actually leaps for the ball. Yeah. Whereas Geordie's a bit more flat-footed. Uses his body. I think he's still got some ways to go in using his body too. Like he does have some serious sort of actual girth, like big man girth. So I think over the next couple of seasons, if he learns to actually use his body properly, he can box guys out. Man, we need to get JT just working with him in the off season, learning how to use his junk. Okay. And then Jarrell 20 points, obviously great night. Anything else from this game? We kind of just glossed over the games a little bit.
It's a good win. It's an important win. It keeps us in touch with Illawarra because realistically now it's Illawarra is the team that we're going to be catching after the Phoenix had a pretty good round. They've kind of pulled away from it, obviously with their team back at full strength. Yeah,
they got a few weapons too. Mitch Creek, Sykes is back. Liafo's shooting the ball quite well. Tarangi as well, starting to play a little bit better. This Hawks team, I watched it last couple of weeks, and it's been a bit wobbly.
It's not so much wobbly. They have 3 things they do. That's it. Tyler Harvey chucks, Justinian Jessup in the mid-range, and then they get it to Froling in the roll. And that's pretty much their whole team. That's why Dengadell never did anything with that team. That is their whole team. Is you get to Froling in the roll, Tyler Harvey chucks it up from 3. If he has a good night, then you win. And Justinian Jessup gets into the kind of 15 to 18 foot range and shoot some jumpers. And if it all kind of gels on the night, they win. If it doesn't, then they lose. That's really their whole team. It's fucking boring to watch.
Yeah, I like it. I don't mind it. I like pick and roll, man. We just don't run enough legit pick and roll.
Pick and roll is one thing that we do need to, if the chips are down and offense isn't flowing, that's what we need to do.
And Geordie's shown some, adeptness at running a pick and roll. And we've shown that we have passes to do it. We actually have some passes that want to facilitate and want to move the ball. Yet it's so stagnant sometimes. And that's kind of where you get these situations where you have Tommy V just being like, nothing's on. All right, chuck it. And Craig Muller in these positions where looking for a handoff, looking for something. Anyone? No, okay, I'll just chuck it. And that's where you just, it's rough offense. So it's hard to watch. But yeah, looking at this table, Southeast Melbourne currently 31 games, 17 wins, 14 losses. So they're sitting in third. Probably pretty close to having it secured. They're going to have to lose some games over the next few weeks, really, and to go on a bad run to really fall out. It's the position where if we had to beat Adelaide and maybe, won one of our other games this season that we shouldn't have thrown away, we probably would have been sitting pretty in this position. Then the Hawks, 29 games, 15 and 14. So they have some games in hand on the Phoenix and then just one on us. So very interesting. Couple of games against the Breakers we'll talk about after we do tips.
3-2-1s.
3-2-1. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. 3-2-1s.
First game, Adelaide.
First game was Brisbane. Yeah, the first game was Adelaide.
Yeah.
Just nuke that from our memory.
3.
Do you need the box score to check that?
3.
Go full box score.
3 Jarrell. 2. That's a hard one.
It is a hard one. That was a bad game, man.
2
Geordie?
1 Weeksy.
Just go full box score.
I'm not even looking.
Yeah, I know, but that was, so 13 points for Jarrell, 15 for Hunter, and Weeksy had 10. Yeah, I'm going full box score as well. And then the Adelaide game. Jarrell.
No, I think Casper played. Jarrell had a big part in it. I mean, 10 dimes, a double-double. I'm going to go Casper, Jarrell, and Muller.
Moeller. I'm going to kick it for me. Gets 1. So I went Jarrell for 3, Ware for 1, 2, and then kick it for 1. Jarrell. Have I been calling him Jarrell or should I be calling him Martin? I should be calling him Martin. Otherwise, I won't pick it up in that score. But that's all right. I'll fix that later. And now tips. Another huge game week. A lot of people had good game weeks this week. Some big ones. Starting with Hawks at home to United.
United.
I will also go United, mainly because I want. They tanked that Southeast Melbourne game, man. I watched that last night. I was like, you are tanking this. That's you cretins. Bullets at home to Perth. By the way, Perth won tonight. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
Perth. For me, New Zealand at home to the Kings. Finally, New Zealand at home.
Kings for the double.
Yeah.
Most important round of the year.
36ers at home to the Hawks.
Hawks.
Yeah, no more Giddy anymore. So, spoiler alert, Giddy is going to train for the draft. I went Kings too against the Breakers. Perth at home to Cairns.
Perth.
Yeah, they just played Cairns and beat them. Cairns gave a pretty good account of themselves in that game. New Zealand at home to the Kings. Kings for me also. Brisbane at home to Southeast Melbourne.
Southeast Melbourne.
Sam for me as well. 36ers at home to Perth.
Perth.
Hawks at home to Cairns. Ooh, tough one.
Cairns. I'm going to go Cairns.
Cairns. I'm going to go Hawks. The dirty Hawks. Bullets at home to United. United for me. And then to finalise the round, New Zealand at home to the 36ers. Tough one.
All of the trash bags. I'm going to go Breakers.
Breakers for me too. This round, so that brings that round to a close for us. Let's talk about these these next 2 New Zealand games. This has another 500 written all over it, man. We go over there and then sluggish to start. It's trash. The Websters heat up. Iverson dominates. Just like one of those games. I have the feeling one of those games is going to be one of those ones where you're just like, I can't believe, like, what are you doing? Like,
we need to walk away with both wins, really. If we don't win both games, then our season is pretty much capitulated. Kaput.
The Statue of Liberty.
A fairly easy run home, and we do not.
Just bringing up the fixtures because I want to see what New Zealand currently are sitting at in their last games played. Win, loss. So 4 losses on the trot for the Breakers. It just got this feeling of like, oh, can you believe it? Shooting 31%, the Breakers win by 2, and it's like 68-70. Like one of those terrible games, man. Like we played in that first round, like start of the season, it was such a sluggish game. And, they got a little bit of a run on Delaney and Iverson running these pick and rolls and the Webster brothers. I got that feeling, man. I can't tip against the Kings, but I've just got that feeling because, and you gotta think too, like they've just gone home, and first game at home, they want to, They want to really impress in front of their home fans.
Yeah.
Yuck. But we've got to win both these games, man. We have to.
It's a must.
Have to. What are your thoughts anyway on this Breakers team? McDowell White is a human. He has a body and legs.
He has a body and legs. It's a team that is a team.
It has players on a roster.
Look, they've had a pretty tough year, man.
I know.
Away from home. It's good to see them go home and play. But in saying that, we need to absolutely trash them these next 2 games. Otherwise, our season is over. So I've got to tip the Kings for both games. It's got to go ahead. It's got to happen. It's going to happen.
We need to stomp them out, man.
That's it.
Absolutely stomp them out. Did you see the video of everyone being like, "Oh, thanks for coming over and staying. Hope you had a good time over here, but glad to see you going home. Thanks, Breakers." It's a bit like some of the people in that video too were clearly just like put on the spot, like in the locker room. It's just like, "Hey, just say a quick few words for the Breakers." "Oh, yeah. Hope you did well, Breakers. Have a good one." Like something like that, and you're just like, "Oh God." But looking at their roster, Rasmus Bark, solid little player off the bench. I think he did well in that game we went and saw live. Delaney's been playing a lot better over the last couple of weeks. And then, Iverson reffed off the floor. Abercrombie, I don't know if he's injured. I'm just going to click his name and see where it goes. Doesn't say anything about injuries. No, it doesn't. But yeah, that's all I got. We've just got to win these 2 games, man. I can't believe they had Lamar Patterson.
I know.
Just what the hell. And Jeremy Kendall, who I don't know if he's still there. I think he went to Adelaide. Might have gone to Adelaide. Just clicking him. No, current team, the Auckland Huskies. So he's playing
NZBL.
Yeah, and NZBL. But yeah, Webster and Webster. What would you say if Casper's like, "I'm out," and we were like, "All right, we'll take Ty Webster"?
I wouldn't be that offended.
You wouldn't be.
I don't think you will, though. I think the Websters aren't on marquee money, and Casper is. So
yeah, but there's every chance that is Casper on 2-year deal.
No, 1 year.
1 year. So there's every chance that Casper's just like, "I'm out."
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's going to Europe. So
could go back to the US, playing the G League.
I could see him being out of the Kings, but yeah, I don't see that happening.
I would take Webster. 25, has summer league experience, played for Miami. It's this team. It needs like an identity, and there's too much. I'm nice. I'm really nice. I'm just the nicest guy, and you're like, "Yeah, but can you shoot it?" Yeah, I guess. But you miss a lot. Yeah, I guess too. And that's all right, isn't it, boys? Like, it has too much of that. Like, there's not enough, like, I just score the ball. And everyone goes, "Oh, yeah, fair enough." So, like, if you put Hobson in this team, even though I wouldn't do it, but if you actually put someone like Hobson in this team, it would help us. Like, you put Hobson in that Melbourne team, and you just watch it, and you're just like, this doesn't fit. Like, you've got a bunch of guys who move the ball, good point guard, a good system, and then you just throw this ISO scorer in this team, and you're like, whoa, this doesn't work. But in our team, it's like, we've just got a bunch of facilitators, guys that are hesitant to shoot it, one guy who loves shooting it. So you're like, could match those shots with another guy who wants to take shots. And I don't know, like if Casper were to leave at the end of this season, I kind of feel like we've got to replace that with someone who can just score the ball.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make any sense because you're basically replacing with someone who just loves to score the ball with someone who loves to score the ball. But at the same time, if we were to replace Casper with someone who did something different, like, was a true point guard, someone who was the style of Emmett Nah, but was a lot better than Emmett Nah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It would fix a lot of the issues in this team. Like, I hesitate to say it, but we've just got so much glue that scorers don't really work.
No.
It's just, I don't know. A bit pie in the sky. I can see you like nodding out, Xing out of this.
Yeah, bro.
It's time for bed. I think we might leave it there. It's been a bit of a long one, bit of a marathon. I think The 40 discussion is very interesting. We might, over the next couple of weeks, start to look at who we can possibly bring in to replace him at the end of this season. Huge options. Just not Lamanis, please. No.
No safety harness.
Please, no. Yeah, so we'll do that, and definitely we've got a big week coming up, so we'll cover that as well on the next episode next week. And as always, you can like and subscribe. We're on Facebook Live at the moment, so if you want to watch us on Facebook, then do that live. Give us a shout out in the comments. Give us a like. Also, you can watch us on YouTube in replay if you want to do that. We also do other videos and content on there, so definitely go over there and give it a subscribe as well. And if you want to listen to us in audio form, you can listen to us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify through the Anchor platform. I'll put these up straight away after there. So give us a subscribe and a rating and review if you can, to help us get out there to more Kings fans. And as always, we will see you guys next time
on the Kings Dive.